We started having a lot of industry come in, and you were losing good employees. The way I've always looked at it is if you can keep a good employee, you've saved money.
They have gone through some struggles with keeping employees.
Turnover is expensive. When you hire a new employee, it will roughly cost you $1,500 per employee to have them trained to where you don't have to train them anymore.
Welcome to Glasgow, Kentucky, population 14,000. Glasgow is a rural community about 75 miles south of Louisville. The lifestyle here is modest. So are the wages. Tim Rigdon runs the Glasgow Dairy Queen, a franchise restaurant that has been a landmark in this small community for more than 25 years.
Glasgow Dairy Queen has been a very successful business, and the owner was looking for ways that he could save toward retirement. On top of that, we wanted to be competitive in the market with employment and finding a way to enhance especially management and people that have been with the business for a number of years, to keep them encouraged to stay with us and give them something that maybe other small businesses were not.
Also too, I knew that if we had a retirement plan for them and we was contributing to that retirement plan, it gave them more reason to stay with us.
So Tim talked with his CPA, Cliff Fowler, to explore options for retirement plans. They settled on a simple IRA plan because of its flexibility and ease of IRS compliance.
The plan itself is called a simple IRA. It has very little IRS obligations on it, compliance issues. The employees have to have been employed in 2 previous years. They had to make at least $5,000 in each of those 2 years. In the current year, they have to expect to make $5,000. The match, we use the simple match of dollar for dollar match. Up to 3% of the person's wages will be matched by the Glasgow Dairy Queen.
Really, the retirement plan is pretty easy. You're able to pick whoever you want as far as to be your investment firm. Once you pick who you want to handle that, your accountant pretty much handles everything else.
In addition to employee retention, the plan has other financial incentives for the employer.
The financial incentives for the owner will be a tax break, for one thing. The matches are not subject to Social Security, federal or state income taxes, unemployment taxes. So it's just straight out what he gives to the employee is the only cost to him there. On top of that, it allows him to do more into his retirement, and that's where it starts snowballing a little bit.
Most of the people in this type of business that work for you, they live day by day. They don't look at it as far as a future when they do come to work in a fast food restaurant.
The other part was, all these employees, the only retirement they have is Social Security. And the reality of what Social Security is going to be when they do retire, even those that are bumping up close within 10 years of it, is not going to be enough to survive on. And they know they have to start setting money aside now if they're going to have anything in the future.
I figured there'd be more people hesitating to do it, but I guess how they looked at it was, if I'm going to get paid more money, maybe I'm not going to get this money now, but I am eventually going to get this money, then I want to be a part of it.
Probably one of the most amazing things has been the participation of those eligible. We have about 8 employees that are eligible for it, and we're getting participation from 7 to 8 people every year participating in this. And they're participating at a fairly substantial level, at least getting enough to get a full match from the employer. And then we also had situations where we thought people would not be able to participate because of their financial situation, single mothers with several children. The wages are not high-end wages, and their spendable income was not there. But yet, they surprised us. They did participate. And that just went to show us that sometimes we make some judgments on our own that we shouldn't be making, and we need to leave it up to the employees to make those choices.
Sharon Phelps is manager of the Glasgow Dairy Queen. She's worked there for more than 20 years and was one of the first to join the plan.
It just seems more secure to me. And that's what, you know, restaurants for a long time didn't have any security. And you just basically, everything everybody else was offering, you didn't get a chance to participate. Everybody likes benefits. You're trying to take care of them a little for the retirement. It's great.
It's not hard to get people to see the advantages of doing retirement from more than just a pure tax savings, money savings perspective. It's more about what I do for my employees, building the relationships, building the family atmosphere in a small business.
If you take care of your people, they'll be more loyal to you. They'll have a tendency to work harder for you because they start to feel like this is part of their business instead of working for someone.
In sharp contrast to rural Kentucky is Northern California, where the workforce is highly skilled and where both wages and the cost of living are high. Northern California is home to the nation's most renowned wine-producing region, and the town of Healdsburg in Sonoma County is home to Jordan Winery, a foremost producer of ultra-premium wines.
We've been in business for 35 years, always making what we like to refer to as some of America's best Cabernet and Chardonnays. This is a family-owned business, and many, in fact, of our employees are related one to another, and we're fortunate in that we have several generations of employees that have worked here or continue to work here together.
Jordan Winery's retirement plan was originally begun as an IRA-based plan.
The idea was that we shouldn't depend on just Social Security for our, once we want to retire. And so in somewhere along, I think 1980, perhaps, I think it was when our first wine was released in 1980, and we actually had revenue coming in, that Tom Jordan started a program with an IRA.
Over the years, Jordan's workforce grew, and its retirement plan needs changed accordingly.
I think we started with the 401k program and shifted from the IRA program because we started accumulating more employees. We got a much bigger group of people. I think the other reason too is that trends happen in this business, and other wineries are also coming up with 401k programs, and we want to attract the very best employee, and part of attracting the very best employee is compensation packages. And it's a real eye-opener when you're interviewing people and they tell you, well, I've interviewed 5 other places and they're offering this. So you go back to the boss and say, hey, if we want to attract good employees, we're going to have to come up with a much better compensation package than what we have right now.
It's a very competitive job market in the wine industry here in Northern California, and Jordan has found that to be competitive and to attract the type of employees that we want, it's essential that we have some sort of retirement plan in place, and 401k plan is our choice of plans.
Jordan Winery offers a combination 401k and profit sharing plan to its employees. This allows the employees to make pre-tax contributions into their retirement account. It also allows Jordan Winery to make matching contributions to the employees' retirement accounts. Most companies do offer a retirement plan. So for small businesses to be competitive with some of the larger companies that are out there, they need to ensure that their compensation packages reflect the same sort of benefits that the larger companies do.
Rob Davis is responsible for the winemaking operation at Jordan, but he also views himself as a representative for the employees. Rob serves as a trustee of the Jordan Retirement Plan.
I do see myself as representing the employees and that being the voice of those employees, because I'm very close to them. I know their kids, their wives, their spouse, or whatever, and they're like family to me. They're going to get to the point where they do want to retire, and that is the continual message that I give them, is that you need to create your retirement. We encourage them as best we can.
Having the retirement plan in place at Jordan Winery was a major factor when making my decision to come work here, because the matching funds that the winery would contribute was like getting a raise before I started.
I choose to be in the plan because I think it is important to have some savings when I go to retire. The best thing about that is knowing that in the future I can depend on the money.
It gives me a sense of security for my future, so I feel like I'm being proactive about my future and guaranteeing myself an income when I retire.
Many small business owners stop short of offering an employee retirement plan because they fear that it will be too costly or too difficult to administer.
The truth is that the variety of products that are available these days, there can be a retirement plan that can fit everyone's needs. Most companies engage a third-party administrator to do much of the record keeping and administration related to the plan. There really aren't any good reasons for a small business not to have a retirement plan these days.
It's important for our employees to feel passionate and committed to the company. Obviously that goes to employee retention, but when people see their job as not just a job or a line item on a resume, but as their career, we think that type of passion and commitment is important. For any small business owner, a retirement plan is an investment. Having quality people, continuity of workforce, reduced turnover costs, these are oftentimes very difficult ideas to apply a metric to, but we are convinced that it's been an important part of Jordan's success.
My advice to a small owner is treat your employees like they are part of your family. You know, the best you take care of them, the best they will take care of you. And when you look out for their retirement as an owner, that speaks volumes to an employee. This person's looking out not just for me today, but for my future, for my family, and then when I retire, for the, you know, whenever that may be. That sends a really strong message that this is a place I want to stay at.
Just an hour south of Jordan Winery is Green's Cleaners in the town of Napa, California. Green's operates 2 retail locations and has a busy pickup and delivery service.
My wife and I bought the business back in 1979, and at that time we had one full-time, one part-time employee, and that was 20 years ago, and now we have 30 full-time employees. It's a very labor-intense business, so most of the employees are production employees. They operate the presses to press clothing, and then we have 4 route drivers that pick up and deliver.
Like any small business, Green's wanted to minimize employee turnover.
I think in any business, and it's difficult to find good, you know, long-standing and stable employees, and the reason for that is you know, there's competition, and employees are always looking for good-paying jobs. The turnover, I would say the cost is huge, because it takes roughly about a month to really teach the employee the basic operations of the business. Not only that, you know, in the end, you're probably looking to recover that cost in about 6 to 7 months. And you know, and if you have huge turnover, you know, sometimes you really don't recover that.
Green's retirement plan was begun 15 years ago by the company's owner, Pete Smith. More than anything, Pete was concerned about the welfare of his employees.
Our interest was with the employees. That was our main concern. We wanted these people to have, when they did leave the company, we wanted to have them more than a final paycheck. You know, we want to have something to show for the years that they spent with us. You know,
Green's Cleaners retirement plan is a savings incentive matching plan for employees, commonly referred to as a simple IRA. So with this particular plan, with Green's plan, the employees or participants contribute a portion of their salary each pay period, and Green's Cleaners matches that deferral amount. And there are 16 eligible employees in the Green's plan, and 15 of those eligible are actually participating in the plan. So that's a pretty high rate of participation, as far as I'm concerned, compared to other kinds of plans that I've seen.
Green's retirement plan has been a big part of helping the company both attract and retain good employees.
Yes, it definitely was a plus. to have the retirement plan in place. That's one thing that I was looking for when I started work was, you know, the most benefits I could possibly get. So that definitely was a plus.
I started with Greens when I was in high school, so the last thing on my mind at that point was retirement. You know, when you're young, you just want to think about, you know, the now instead of the future. And since we've come on, we've had the retirement plan. So then I, you know, enrolled in a plan to save for the future. The fact that Greens had a retirement plan in place, that was definitely significant in me staying on board long term.
The participants now, they generally just absolutely love it. And once they start seeing their statement in the mail, how much money they're actually saving, then they realize that, you know, it's really worth it. I'm getting somewhere in life, and it's, you know, it's an incentive to stay where they are.
I know that, for example, that the participants that have been in this plan for 5 years have told me, come back and told me that they're amazed by how much money they have now when they never missed any of that money. And they say, I got to thank Pete and Terry, the owners. And that says something. You know? So I think longevity, retention, and attracting newer employees or attracting employees to the company is a benefit as a result of this plan.
Your employees are the most important asset you have, and the more you can do for them, the better off it's going to be for everybody concerned. And that goes into not just a monetary reward, but also in the compassion that you show these people.
Fair and Square, this is Joe Hodges.
Oh yeah.
Some small businesses are, well, very small. Take, for example, Fair and Square Design in Alexandria, Virginia. Joe Hodges owns Fair and Square, and he is the company's sole employee.
I do design work for clients that want to remodel older homes, building additions, or remodeling the spaces of interiors and that sort of thing for my clients. We've had over 5 employees at various times over the years, but we currently don't have any. It's just me. But I certainly expect that I will hire some help and grow the business some more.
But even as a sole practitioner, Joe knew that he needed to put some kind of plan in place for his retirement, as well as having something he could use with future employees. He talked with his financial advisor, Lisa Feathergill.
Fair and Square has what's called a SEP IRA. And the way it came about, I was preparing the tax returns for Joe and his wife. Joe's business flows through to his individual income tax return, and he had a profit last year. So when I saw that there was a profit from the business, I saw that there was an opportunity to create a retirement plan for Joe through the business.
It was a good approach for our company that made sense. It was a good fit for me personally, and mainly because of the cyclical or flexible issues that come with owning a small business. I mean, you don't necessarily know that you're going to be making a windfall or hitting your numbers on a regular basis.
A SEP is actually a wonderful plan, especially for a single person company, because it's easy to administer, very easy to administer. It's easy to set up, and it's flexible. In fact, in years where income is higher, he can put more into the plan, or if there's a bad year, he doesn't have to put as much into the plan. There's a lot of flexibility.
Flexibility is a huge thing for me, and also being able to save money is huge as well. I guess the thing is, you don't need to be a millionaire to have a financial planner, for one thing. I've learned that. The advice that you can get from someone that actually knows these things in and out and can follow up on the changes in legislation that might affect the position of these plans is money well spent, because ultimately it's just too much to try to be the expert on every facet. It's the reason why I don't do electrical work, because I'm a designer, and I'm great at designing. I'm not so great at electrical work, so.
There's a great tax advantage to the company. Any amounts that are contributed to the plan get deducted, and since the company's income is reported on Joe's personal income tax return, it means that he gets a personal tax deduction for any amount that he puts into his retirement plan.
From day one, I would have started a retirement plan had I known what I know now. And being a small business, no one's going to save for you. You need to be in charge of that, just like you are in charge of the things you do professionally.
From the smallest company to companies much larger, there is a retirement solution for every business.
So how does an employer decide what to do? With so many choices out there and changing laws, the employer really needs to go to somebody who's an expert in this area. So whether that's a CPA or another financial planner or advisor, go to somebody who has significant experience in not just the types of retirement plans that are available, but also in matching the retirement plans to the goals of the individual and the business. My observation from the Glasgow Dairy Queen was that turnover was a big concern. It was somewhat rural area and salaries were somewhat low. And this was a way for the Dairy Queen to be competitive. Quite often I see simple IRAs for smaller business. And when I say smaller, probably up to 10 or 20 employees. It's really easy to administer. It doesn't take much by way of filing. It's easy to set up. And it's basically an IRA that's created for the employee. So it's a whole lot easier than some of the other types of retirement plans you might see in larger organizations. Remember, Greens Cleaners, he was concerned about rewarding longevity. He was concerned about employee turnover. And he chose a simple plan. And I remember that his simple plan allowed employee contributions plus a match. And he had significant participation in that plan. So it looked like a very good plan. Jordan Winery, remember, their employee base was growing, and it looked like it was a very competitive market. Remember, I think her name was Veronica. She was talking about she had met with several potential employers and was looking at the compensation packages. And having a 401k as part of the compensation package was very important. A 401k you typically see in larger size companies, and it's an industry norm. And so I think in order to be competitive, Jordan had to offer a type of program that they were going to see at competitors. There's so many different plans. There's something for everyone, every business. From the single person SEP, like Fair and Square, to a larger 401k and the simple that we saw, there's a wide variety. There were many more than were shown in the 4 cases, but there's a wide variety. Regardless of what type of plan you choose, the benefits are fantastic. For the company, you get a tax deduction for the amount that's contributed. For the employee, the amount that's contributed on their behalf is not taxable to them until they actually take the money out of the plan. And then, of course, the money grows pre-tax. So it's, from a financial perspective, it's a wonderful opportunity.